Kristin's sincerity during a post-round interview has many concerned heading into a crucial stretch. Masters is underway, Hall of Fame inductees, and even more this week in disc golf. I'm Swiss Cheese, yes, the one with all the holes, and I'm with the disc golf world. And most of you guys know us because we're that channel that you first think of when disc golf just gets weird.
You can already see the disc golf world title.
And you're watching This Week in Disc Golf, where I cover all things disc golf from the past week. With a split field, first-time winners, PDGA's letter, and WADA World's drug screening, there was plenty of topics and debates to wade through this week, allowing Kristin Latt's European Disc Golf Championship layup and subsequent post-round interview statements right after to be less of a headline.
In case they do cancel the round tomorrow, congratulations, you are the European Disc Golf Champion 2025. You've defended your title successfully. How does that feel?
Feels very good, especially after such a tough stretch. I don't feel like myself lately, and it's been a challenge for me to even play disc golf and to come out here and play very well and defend the title. It's above my expectations and everything I could dream of.
The truthful emotions expressed has left many with an uneasiness with two majors quickly approaching. One of the greatest in the sport who finds it challenging to even play disc golf brings plenty of added speculation.
Something is going on outside of disc golf.
Yeah, when I say tired, I don't mean like physically tired. I mean like weary. She just seems like someone who maybe it's the back and forth of, United States, Europe, United States, Europe.
Traveling,
she's kind of maybe homesick with like family a little bit and her daughter, and just is at a point where, she's feeling all the emotion of everything going on.
Kristin's results on the season and the fact that she's only fallen outside the top two once has allowed your brain to convince yourself otherwise, despite what many have seen on the year from Kristin. That's featured less controlled victories and more up and down rounds with spotty play. But I'm really not too sure that there's something more here, as Kristin has been very candid on a difficult and tumultuous year. Kristin has admitted to mental struggles through interviews and social media posts for most of the year now, even went as far as to reference those difficulties in her latest birthday post, as she has not shied away from this all year. And it's understandable when you look at the situation. Kristin finds herself in the final year of her FPO leading contract, heading into a contract year after just celebrating her 33rd birthday and the negotiations those bring. Kristin has also released a new clothing line, along with a packed promotional tour for both majors, in the World Championship and the European Disc Golf Festival. That's on top of her own sponsorship commitments already. Add illness, a recent toe injury, along with nerve pain in her hand that hit fans as hard as the Red Panda news. There's also hole 17 at Sprinkle Valley, and we can't forget the phantom official call at Champions Cup in the final round that shook her. It's certainly understood her confidence and mental health has been tested, and we can't forget the celebrity that's attached to the name also, that brings the added pressure of a major in her home country, and the demands that come with being one of the best Europeans in its first World Championship held on its soil. And though many want to believe that rest might just be the best answer for her to get healthy, the solution instead could be just one dominating performance from completely resetting mentally, and have Latt return to the commanding play we have all been accustomed to. And if we really want to address the elephant in the room of her layup at the end of round 3 that many have loved to highlight being the deciding factor in her not repeating as champion of the European Disc Golf Championship, sure, the optics of laying up a 12-footer on day 3 is odd, but at that moment, justified. Preparation and communications of that round possibly being the final day of the tournament was made clear enough by organizers that Kristin said she treated it as such heading into the final round. Then you add hours of being beaten by the conditions, protecting a possible victory, or in the worst instance, a lead heading into the final round makes the move less egregious. But let's hear from you guys in the comments below. Was that layup the wrong play? And do you feel Kristin should take a break or power through? This week also kicked off the Masters World Championship held in Minnesota this year. With 3 rounds complete and 2 still left to play, the battles have grown tighter. Joe Rovere holds a single-stroke lead over tall Paul Oman, with 3 others within 3 strokes of the lead in the MPO 40 division. While the FPO 40 division has the continued clash carried over from last year's Masters Cup between Ohn Scoggins and Jennifer Allen. The two currently sit tied for the lead, 6 strokes ahead of the next competitor. Some other names that find themselves atop the leaderboard, you have the recently announced Hall of Famer Brian Schweberger, currently sitting a stroke ahead of Johnny McRae. Juliana Korver is primed for another Masters win, and Jay Yeti Redding is trying his best to hold off Barry Schultz and Kevin Babbitt. PCS also starts this week just without Silva Saarinen, who dropped out due to a fever. Doesn't stop the course from looking as beautiful as ever. Like I alluded to, the 2025 Disc Golf Hall of Fame inductees were announced this week also. You had Discmania standouts Jussi Meresmaa and Avery Jenkins enter in the same class. Schwebby, like I mentioned earlier, Dan Doyle and Sharon Jenkins. Congratulations goes out to each of them as their hard work, perseverance, and contributions to the sport pays off with their inclusion alongside the game's greatest. And how about a couple video cuts that deserve some recognition also? The first one being Steady Ed Hendricks and the PDGA history, how players won control of disc golf. Yes, that title is more than a Joey Chestnut 4th of July mouthful, and it has me thinking,
You can already see the disc golf world title.
still was a thorough and comprehensive history worth the watch alone. That was presented well by Matthew Rothstein, author of the upcoming 2026 release of Steady and candidate on this year's PDGA board's ballot. The video was informative and illuminated the origins of the PDGA, its critical moments of its members' participation, and even a revolt. Yes, you heard me correctly. Along with the shift in practices away from the organization's founding principles, which not only shaped Rothstein's election platform, but the PDGA's current landscape that has seen a decline in membership and voting numbers since. And I can't reference it twice in the video without bringing up DGPT's Making a Major, a very well done production that was far more than a bit for us to use, provided the behind the scenes look of this year's Champions Cup. It promoted the storylines the community craves by showcasing its leaders, the Shawns, the organizing efforts and work by multiple parties, while also doing a great job of highlighting the labor that was put on by many of the passionate volunteers, which just might have been the best part of the video for me. And shout out to John in that cut also, showing everyone how it should be done at events. Now let's get to some quick hitters outside the flooded scenic post of all the pros over in Norway. Beautiful, yes, but has my feed looking too much like an Ezra Instagram. But there is one thing that happened. I did learn about Sea Eagles and the Beastie Boy outfits they hand out to the tourists to watch them. I already mentioned Kristin's birthday, but didn't mention the surprise party Silver threw or the cheesecake. Kevin Jones also celebrated his birthday this week, and while we're on both celebrations and cheesecake, Cadence decided to forego the traditional victory lap of Texas Roadhouse and instead went with the Cheesecake Factory for her Sally meal. Maybe she just wanted to keep things light with plenty of reading. Speaking of celebration, Adderhold stuck to his promise he made to Adam Hammes by going full Frank the Tank with his first taste of alcohol, a la Stanley Cup style. Paige's return to Norway had her greeted with a not-so-subtle course name change, as the bridge where Paige had her devastating ankle injury was renamed. You just gotta love disc golf at times. While I'm on Paige, she did her best Jake Hubenheimer Animal Planet post in his honor. Ricky snagged some quick sights and a crepe during a Paris layover. Even Evelina gets in the fishing action, while Kat rode a hot air balloon and celebrated the 4th in her own way. Ella caught 2 ball games this week, but only one came with a T-shirt Cannon Grimace shirt snag. That, and let's just call it now, Jake Mon and Clay Edwards had the cut of the week. And guys, that wraps up this week in disc golf. Shout out to those on the Patreon and all of you who have stayed this long for me to thank you. And like always, if you've enjoyed and not subscribed, make sure to do so. And if you haven't already, hit that like button, comment, and share.